Well, I think the idea of the collective unconscious may be very deeply based in the mirror neuron system because, in a sense, there's information flowing between all of us all of the time. And in NLP terms, we study things like, tone of voice and pacing and rhythm and body posture and breathing. And there's such a wealth of information in there. And it's not just the kind of superficial things that we learn in NLP, what sense somebody is using and so on. But there's actually very rich and deep information, including things about entities and so on. All right, so that's one direction. The other is that we also seem to have other connections between us that may be based in something more like quantum entanglement, which states that when any two particles have ever come in contact, they remain in contact. They continue to influence each other. The classic experiment of that takes two photons and splits them off into different ways, and when we influence one of them, the other one changes instantaneously, wherever it is, even though they're not in contact. Recently, Dr. Persinger, a neuroscientist in Canada, has demonstrated this kind of quantum entanglement between two humans. And that's just absolutely fascinating, and that's an epiphany for me. It suggests that there's all kinds of connections between us, and since we are really part of the world around us, we also have very deep connections with the world. There's such rich information in everything that we experience that it's really a matter of our mind, say, using the mirror neuron system or the default network to decode this information and to bring it into conscious awareness for us. And maybe that's an epiphany when we finally unpack the information in what's available to our senses in new and different ways. And suddenly it comes up to our conscious awareness that, hey, there's something else here. There's something different, a new idea. Well, I want to add a little bit to that that's appropriate to Second Life. Persinger's experiment used a computer to link the two people. They were only linked by a computer which was influencing their state, and that's all. It went to what he calls the God helmet, or what's called the God helmet that he invented, which you put it on and has a magnetic field that stimulates the temporal lobes. So really the idea was to get these two people who were in different rooms into the same state by controlling both of their helmets with the same computer. That's the only connection. When one of them had a light flash in his eyes, the other one responded. He was hooked up to an EEG. His brain responded as if he had a light flash in his eyes as well. So I see a parallel here with our computer connections, even just an IM communication with somebody, but even more in a rich environment like Second Life. We are making that connection in some way so that a whole lot more information can come through. And I think a lot of people find that when they connect with friends, they chat with people online. We make very deep connections that sometimes don't happen the same way face to face.
So then we come to the imagination. You mentioned the imagination before, so let's stretch our imaginations a little bit more and talk about how powerful it is for the work that we do, and how important is the sensitivity of the person to notice kind of the energies you use with the Magick. How important is it for them to be able to visualize really clearly? Because I know we use like gestures on the course to do our rituals. We use sound, we use dance, we use gestures. So it wasn't all about visual stuff. So what I'm looking at is how important, sensitive does the person need to be to feel these energies, these entities that we were creating?
Well, I think we all have the neurological equipment to do that. I think people more or less need to be trained to use that. Some people are real naturals. They're very empathic. they have a switched on mirror neuron system, if you will. And I think that most of us, however, need a little bit of practice. We need a little bit of training just to be aware of what's going on. We habituate to most of the things that are in our senses, and it kind of drops out of our awareness. And I think that also applies to a lot of the subtle energy that we're always surrounded with. All this information that's flowing from one person to another, be it through the mirror neuron system or through quantum entanglement, whatever. It's a kind of background to everything we do, and it's very easy to let it drop out of awareness. And we kind of have to retrain ourselves to tune back into that. As for the importance of imagination, imagination is paramount to human life. Everything that we see around us has been created by imagination. Your computer, I mean, these computers, this whole world that we're playing in now, is all a result of imagination. I think it was Einstein who said that everything great that's happened to the human race has begun in someone's imagination. And I think that's fantastic. And I think it's a way that we access some of our own energies and some of our own ideas and thoughts, and then we're able to communicate that and put it in the world, and then it can flow with all this other information to everybody else.
I understand the importance of imagination, but even more so working with you, because of the powerful experiences I had on the course that we did in London. I'm much more into visualizing. The reason I came into Second Life is because I couldn't visualize very well. So great, I can use this 3D environment to train my visualization muscles, but to be able to use your work in conjunction with this 3D colourful interactive process has helped me to interact with my entities a lot more fully and more powerfully, which I'm really excited about. So thank you for that. That's brilliant.